So, everybody, first of all, welcome so much to our last session here at Girls Who Print Day. In case you missed it, Dawn Nye from Konica Minolta was the recipient of the Girls Who Print 2020 Girlie Award today for her outstanding leadership and dedication to education of students and really supporting all the graphic communication programs. Her name is Dawn Nye, N-Y-E. I would suggest everybody connects with her. She is awesome. Speaking of awesome, I can't even tell you, Lily Harder, sometimes I get jealous because when your name is invoked, it's like that angel sound. Ah! You have been supporting Girls Who Print since the pandemic kicked off and even before that, but especially during the pandemic, you have, I'm going to have to use the word donated, and I hope Compare Media is not listening, but you have literally donated your time, your energy, your thought leadership, and most importantly, your multi-million dollars of research that your company does for major global corporations and businesses out in the world. And you have somehow gotten the powers that be to allow you to come, I say allow with a grain of sand, to enable you to share some of that consumer research with us. And I'm not talking about like, oh, let's make up some, let's make some predictions. I'm saying Lily and her company have been doing research during the pandemic. Everything you're going to hear on this session, everything you're going to hear if you go to the Girls Who Print play stream of videos and find Lily's presentations, everything you're going to hear as we've been going along, Lily has come back and updated us on purchasing habits and the workplace. So with only a couple of months left to the year, Lily has once again come back to help us all out there navigate, what consumers are doing, what and where and when are they making purchases. And most important, I saw a lovely section on how the people of print can take this information, make it actionable, and have positive results. So I will stay muted, but on video, if you don't mind, and I will turn it over to you. Thank you again so much, Lily.
Yeah, thank you, Deborah. Thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure to be here. And it's been great. I love sharing the information that we have. And, it serves a lot of purposes. It gets our information out there, it gets our name out there, it gets my name out there, because I do think it's great information. And yes, it's very high value, but this is what I have here is just the tip of the iceberg. So we have so much more if you are interested to learn more. So just again, as Deborah sort of outlined a little bit of what we are, but again, I'm coming to you from Compare Media, which is a Mintel company. So if you're not familiar with Mintel is a global market research firm, and we really are the premier source of understanding what consumers want and why. So we're digging into all of those consumer behaviors and preferences, and we have so many products and services. So everything you're going to see in the presentation today is coming from our consumer reports, which are those primary research studies, and then Compare Media Direct, which is sort of that left column there. This is our media monitoring platform. So this is where we're actually gathering all of the marketing campaigns out there across many different industries and many, many different channels, including direct mail, but also email, online, print, social media, and we're just continuing to expand our coverage in that. So lots of exciting stuff coming. And if you want to learn more, my information is at the end and maybe a little giveaway as well. I love Marketunist. If you haven't seen his stuff, highly recommend. Check him out. Lots of great, entertaining comics, cartoons. Really, really smart guy. He's on the speaking circuit, but I just thought this one is so great. Where really, we have to ask the question, are we getting back to business as usual? And what does business as usual even mean nowadays? So that's something that I think every brand, every marketer should be asking. I think whether you're trying to get back to business as usual, maybe that's the case, but, what has changed because of COVID is so fundamentally different. We need to embrace that as well. And one of his quotes that he puts behind this comic is that COVID-19 is not so much forcing a change in business as it's just accelerating a future that was already underway. And I love that. And I think that's so important to recognize that it doesn't have to be inherently different, but we're getting to where we were going a lot faster. So again, I have so much research in here and insights from other folks who are behind the scenes, put a lot of this together as well, not just the presentation, but the data behind it. So this is a quote from one of our, an associate director in our retail and e-commerce space. Her name is Diana Smith. And I just thought this was so telling. I always hate reading slides. You can read it. I'm going to kind of talk over it. But speaking to just how we really need to think about the future of any industry. And what we're sort of realizing is that, similar to what happened with 9/11 or the Great Recession, this pandemic is an event that's really going to draw a line between America before COVID and America after COVID. And it's just disrupting every category and changing the way that brands are engaging with consumers. So, our advice is really that consumers are going to be relentlessly demanding, and brands really need to consider all of those, not just physical needs, but the emotional and mental needs, the fears and the values that are going to linger on well into the future. So I think that's really important to acknowledge. So what I want to do in today's session is kind of break it down, as I always love to do, which is let's talk about the consumer. Let's see what the consumer's been doing, what they're going to keep doing, and maybe what's going to be different. Talk about the marketing, how that has changed and how we predict it's going to continue to change, and then just what that means. Looking ahead, what does that mean for marketers and brands alike? So I'm going to jump right into consumers, because we all kind of want to know what's happening, what's sort of the biggest change factors, and what should we really be paying attention to. And I know everyone sort of has been talking about the new normal. We at Mintel, we like to call it the next normal. In fact, Americans are kind of looking forward to the dynamic next normal because it is dynamic. It's going to continue to change. It's going to continue to fluctuate. And this next normal is, it's going to continue to elevate on the yes, hand sanitizers, and yes, face masks, of course, but let's look what's next. So in this next normal, consumers are going to continue to make small adjustments to their daily routines to keep themselves safe, but they are also going to move forward because they want to engage in social activities. They want to improve their quality of life. So we are looking for ways to get back to that, and it's going to be different than our previous definition. So yeah, think about it as something dynamic, something that's going to continue to change, something that's continuing to evolve. There will be no, okay, we're here and we're back to normal. No, it's going to, every month is going to bring something different. My kids' school, they're in person, and now they're already going back to virtual, and we're flip-flopping constantly. And so there's no consistency, and we have to rely on the inconsistency, if you will. I mentioned the emotional side of things. So mental health, emotional well-being, anxiety, all of that is something that brands and marketers should really be paying attention to, especially with the holidays coming up. I mean, this is sort of an all-the-time thing, but I would also say especially with the holidays. Anxiety levels are running really high right now because people are concerned about themselves or their families, whether it's health-wise because of the virus or financially or something else out of their control. So threat of the recession is going to continue, or continuing impact of the recession, I should say, is going to drive consumers maybe to stay at home more, continue to save for a rainy day, and just, of course, adjusting their shopping patterns to really focus on the essentials. But interesting to note that generationally, looking by age, younger consumers are prioritizing mental health a little bit more, maybe also feeling more stressed about it. It could be because of their life stage. They want to be out and they want to be doing things. I can't even imagine dating right now, what the dating scene looks like right now, all of these things. So that could be life stage generated, but it is worth noting that especially younger consumers really impacted by the emotional toll that everything is taking on them. This I love. This was some really interesting data that I wanted to highlight, which is that clearly consumers are deciding where and how to shop, but those decisions are largely right now being based on how safe they feel and how much they trust a retailer's hygiene policies. So we're really ushering in this new era of clean shopping, and it's not so much demand, but it's expectations. Consumers are expecting a certain level of hygiene, whether that's hand sanitizer, of course, first and foremost, that needs to be there, but providing, updated policies and procedures and making sure that there's, a standard practice in place. Contactless payments, this is something I speak to a lot just in the financial services industry, with mobile payments and now QR codes, making it a lot easier to do that. So retailers really should not only communicate what their policies are, but make sure you're enforcing them, show how you're enforcing them, communicate how you're enforcing them and how the employees are enforcing them. And also providing options, thinking about appointment-based shopping or curbside pickup. All of this can really empower consumers to shop on their own terms. Options and flexibility are going to be key here. That's going to be a really important part of this.
And so I'm going to use my interject card, which Lily allows me to do, everybody, just so you know.
I get to drink my water then.
Yes, you do. Every single thing you just said has a print component to it. All of those, how is this, say, a direct mail piece, come back and shop. We're going to let you know what we've done. Employee manuals for coming back to office buildings. Everything you just mentioned is a print opportunity. And that is why Lily is talking here. Go ahead, please.
No, I think that's so important. I mean, and we're going to see so much innovation. Now it's standard to have the little footprint, social distance things to keep people apart. The QR code, I will say that I didn't mention that with the contactless payment, and I will get to more of this, but the QR code printing, it's like my favorite thing to talk about lately. And every time I'm out and about, I'm taking pictures of QR codes because I think that's huge, and it's just changing the game with this. So yeah, absolutely. So brand ethics. This is another thing that I do want to talk about, and something that we're talking a lot about and seeing a lot in our research at Mintel and Comper Media, which is activism, because there's sort of two things happening this year, and sometimes they coincide, but one is COVID-19 and the other is all of the civil and social justice issues, I can't speak, that have, I don't want to say been bubbling to the surface, because they have been for a very long time, but they're kind of exploding now because everyone is so just fed up with what's been going on. So we're seeing a lot of emphasis on activism. And, that's not to say that brands need to dive headfirst and be completely confrontational about any of these. However, brands that are looking to become more involved in social awareness really should be. They should really be using this as an opportunity to do so in a way that's not going to alienate their consumer base, but more so focus on universally accepted causes if it's a cause they believe in, great. That's the point. But lean in, make a stand. And if there's concern about that, if there's concern about taking a stand, consider just ethical internal practices. What do you stand for with your own internal practices, like corporate philanthropy? And then how are you going to communicate that, whether that's, in your marketing collateral, in your emails, or maybe even, the way you're designing your brick and mortar with, communications within the store itself. So, activism can definitely be very divisive, but viewing brand ethics and donating to organizations can really have positive and impactful effect and can really help draw the support from your consumers.
And I just want to add that the future of workforce development is in this too, as well as if we look at the entire value chain and we look at companies, big brands, big institutions that are making big statements, they want to make sure that their entire supply chain is aligned with what they want to be authentic in. And again, to Lily's point, whatever you want to say or not say, it's a critical moment to make some decisions about that. And it's being backed by the way consumers will purchase, will want to partner with you, and the way that the brands, if they print, may or may not want to work with your company. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will, highlighting too, I was kind of talking over the data, but what the data is really showing is that, yes, there's this new wave of very, very ardent activists in, consumer subsegments, and it's a small share of consumers, but there's some very, very active consumers. But even those who don't consider themselves activists, they're still expecting brands to act ethically. More than half of just all consumers want to buy from ethical brands, and they consider that as a form of activism. So again, it's not just those people who might be out protesting. It's a large share of the population that is anticipating this. And then the supply chain is a key part of that, because if you don't do the due diligence to look, your customers will. So that's really important to know. That is very 2020. I do want to kind of jump into holidays, because we are nearing the end of the year. I've had so many conversations with my children about it, because I do feel a little bit like I need to, we need things to be excited about. Halloween, of course, is around the corner. I still don't know what we're doing for Halloween, but, closely following are all these other holidays, and consumers are really looking for not only things to get excited about, but I think they want to have a sense of a plan, because everything is so out of our hands right now. Everything is kind of unplannable. Our traditions that we typically do all involve travel, so we're not doing that this year. So what we're finding in our data is that across the board, for the majority of consumers, the 2020 holiday season is really going to be more about the at-home party, smaller gatherings. Yes, some gatherings. Yes, some people getting together, but smaller. 2 in 5 consumers that we surveyed have said that they are comfortable with either hosting something in their own home or attending something small hosted in someone else's home. And more than half, on the flip side, are uncomfortable flying. So, again, they're going to be less likely to fly, less likely to stay in the hotel, and probably hunkering down at home or doing something locally. So, this is also going to change the way that, consumers try to bring that experience into their home. They're going to try to recreate some of those experiences just in a different venue. And so, brands and retailers that are usually supplying some of these holiday things need to think about, food and drink items and paper goods and party accessories that are going to adapt to sort of this more at-home space, and thinking about what the new look of those treats or food and beverages are going to look like, because they might be more individualized. You're not going to have the big punch bowl anymore. You're not going to have the universal dipping bowl with chips, or my biggest pet peeve, where someone eats the chip over the bowl. It's going to be a lot more prepackaged, a lot more individualized. So I can go into a little bit more detail on that. But the look of the holiday is going to be different, and the holiday shopping as well. So yes, a recession and other threats of COVID-19 are still going to impact how people are shopping for the holidays. And many consumers are continuing to sort of curb their spending, many trying to stick to essentials. They're definitely shopping where they feel safe, as I've already mentioned, but they're still looking for the comfort of the holidays. And so retailers and brands and marketers can really play a role in that by making them feel special, making them meaningful. Consumers are looking for retailers to make, to kind of be a little bit more innovative. Besides just providing assistance and inspiration, retailers could be removing some of the pain points by letting consumers have access to real-time inventory levels, if that's possible, and just being very transparent and upfront about whether it's deliveries or making it simple to return items. All of those things, anything to kind of remove the friction and alleviate the frustration that's going to be just more elevated than usual this year. So I think that's going to be really important with the holidays. And then, it's about reimagining it. It's about taking all that information I've been talking about, whether it's the shopping or the eating or the family gathering, whatever it is, it's a little bit different. And, there's going to be different focus this year. Many years we either rely on the same traditions or we kind of do the same things over again. There might be less sharing, whether it's the punch bowl or something else. And there's going to be more trying to connect, trying to encourage the connection between family and friends, leading with comfort, but acknowledging the uncertainty. These are sort of my advice to any brand out there right now. And authenticity is going to be really, really key, because across every single holiday, brands are going to be competing with Amazon and Walmart and Target. And the one advantage that especially smaller providers have is that more genuine, authentic feel, which is something that consumers are yearning for right now and are open to. So I think that's a differentiator that could really be highlighted, whether it's in the marketing or the email or products themselves. So this is a great way to just think about the holidays.
I just want to tie it back into what you said in the beginning, that if you as a printer or a marketer are going to have a role in helping drive business to local artisans and stores, make sure that first step of safety and rules and hand sanitizer and safety graphics is taken care of first in order to get them in. What I'm seeing from your presentation is it's literally a thread. We have to start with letting everybody understand they're safe, then understand how things are going to be different, then understand how we can welcome everybody back into our worlds.
Absolutely. I think that's a really key point. And then, this is holiday specific, but at the same time, this thread has to continue into 2021. We have to kind of think about this again. It's the next normal. It's ever changing. It's evolving. All of that. Even though I'm talking about the holidays, I do think these are things. If you've already thought out your holiday planning, this could well be continued into 2021. And don't forget, other holidays right around the corner, including Valentine's Day. So can definitely be carried into that. So I want to talk about go into the marketing a little bit, what we're seeing, what's new, what's changed, and what you can do as you start to plan and adjust your marketing in the next normal. I will start off just by saying, some of the key things that I've been seeing, and I get very kind of cheesy, and I apologize with my presentations, and I like alliteration, but contactless, curbside, and Animal Crossing. These are just some really big things that we've been seeing across every channel, whether it's print or mail or even email and digital. We're seeing this across the board in terms of how brands are adjusting and trying to tap into really the new consumer lifestyle. So curbside, this is obviously big and just in terms of how products are being delivered. But starting October 10th, families are able to book a spot online for Lowe's Halloween event. So, big home improvement store Lowe's. So families with kids can drive up and get candy and a small pumpkin for free. And it's just a way of kind of engaging and really getting them involved. And Lowe's has been, I will give Lowe's credit, even though they're a big box store. They've been doing a lot of engagement this year because they're really trying to, I think, make up for they had a lot of traffic over the summer, so I'm not sure what it is, but making up for potentially lost traction over the winter months. And I'm calling them out in the second spot as well, because this, again, I think just it's indicative of what we're seeing across the board, but now they have a pickup system. So individuals can leverage Lowe's new contactless pickup lockers, where they receive an email with a single-use barcode that they can use to scan at the pickup locker and receive their order. And of course, the goal of the locker system is just to create a very frictionless pickup system, especially as the holiday season approaches. But they are planning to have all of them installed before Thanksgiving. And so just thinking about this, whether you're a small retail store, brick and mortar, this is what you're competing with. So that's important to know. Whether you're, helping a brand or helping a brand's communication strategy, again, just understanding that the idea of contactless or anything that you could either print and then scan from the phone as a way to further the transaction. Those are the actions and the needs that consumers are going to be looking for. I had to put Animal Crossing in here because, first of all, I just think this is hilarious. And if you're not aware of what's happening here, just as a pulse of the marketing space, you really need to understand this. So if you're not familiar with Animal Crossing New Horizons, this is a Nintendo video game. I would know nothing about it except that it has infiltrated my home. And it's one of those games where you create your own island and you live on the island and you do all these things on it. It's sort of like a Second Life type of game, but it's so popular. So I'm surprised if you haven't at least heard of it. But what has been interesting is that brands are infiltrating the game itself, even Joe Biden. So Joe Biden's presidential campaign launched official yard signs that people could put up in their Animal Crossing island. But other brands are getting involved. Gillette launched a line of shaving creams. I think it is a whole collection where you could use the logo and the brand in your in your design. It's very complicated. My point being that advertising and marketing is infiltrating video games. So we need to understand that that's the space right now. And no, video games is not a printed space, but it's another channel, and it's a channel where consumers are engaging. But there is opportunity here to think about how that, you know, is going to be part of omni-channel mix and incorporating that digital component.
Okay, so I'm going to chime in and tell you how print is part of the gaming space. Gamers are fanatics, like fan addicts. And they love keepsake, special edition books, everything you see at Comic-Con that they sell for $200, $300 of characters and everything. The print might not have a role being in the actual game, but you know, even the packaging is print. You know, it's got to communicate, and I just wanted to add that in.
And I think that
gamers are very loyal to print. I just want to say, but for a different reason. It becomes a supplement that's in the real world in a lot of ways.
And I think it's worth. I mean, I think that's so important. It's just the gaming world is huge and continues to grow. I mean, esports, I can't even. It's humongous. So yes, worth keeping a pulse on. The other thing I wanted to at least highlight, it was just how. And this is before I go into my what to do in the marketing, but I just thought these were some really key points to, again, sort of expand your mind on what's happening in the marketing world that maybe you haven't heard of yet. Mindfulness, the emotional, the mental well-being that we've been talking about, that's so important. It goes beyond just communicating it, but it's infiltrating the products themselves. And there's a lot of opportunity here with how brands can rethink the product or the service to have that mindfulness edge. And many brands are pivoting their marketing to address the stress and the anxiety that consumers are experiencing. So Billy is a direct to consumer shaving brand, and they're trying to empower consumers to be confident in their appearance. And so they had this social media campaign about, we're spending so much time on Zoom, and it's all about self-confidence, combating negative self-talk, especially since a lot of people are constantly seeing themselves on Zoom and then feeling bad about themselves and just all the negativity. Mindful, so these I just thought were interesting. Mindful shower from Skintimate. Skintimate created a new ritual with guided shower meditations and an audio that pairs with their shower products in the shower. So melding, the use with an audio track, allowing users to just disconnect and unwind and boost their energy levels. And then on the right here, this is a men's wellness brand called A System, highlighting both the physical and mental well-being with its Betterment project. It's just a series of blog posts, social media, live digital events, helping men cope with the challenges of daily life and working at home. So I thought that was really unique too, that it can't leave anybody out. So mindfulness, digital, all of those things. There's a lot happening right now. However, I do want to kind of go into what I'm taking away from all the research and all the poking around on our database that I've been doing. What are four key ways that marketers should be adjusting, both to get through 2020 and then looking at 2021. I'm cheesy, and I'm getting into holiday mode myself. So this is sort of my take on, I don't know if anyone else does this for the holidays. And we celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah in my house. So we have to give a lot of presents. So I love the traditional, present approach of something you want, something you need, something to wear, something to read. If you haven't heard of that, it's great. Since we do Hanukkah, I actually add 4 more on top of that to get 8 total. But I just thought this is very, a clever way, a rhyming way to remember, what are some things that I can do with my marketing and based on what we've been seeing. So there's something to give, something to do, something to click, and something to chew. So I'm going to walk through these 4 key points. I know it's so cheesy. I'm laughing at myself right now as I'm even saying it. But I do think it's really important. And that is a key element that we're seeing in the marketing, and that's going to continue to play a role, which is giving back. Giving back is it's addressing both the need of consumers who are looking to make a difference, looking to just kind of step up in this very challenging time, but also thinking about those activists and the just overall increase in activism that we're seeing. So we're seeing a lot of brands kind of tapping into this. Chime is a fintech neobank that's really growing in popularity right now. They're really trying to recognize people, and they're really trying to help people who are changing their communities for the better. And so, there's the one way of doing it where brands can just throw a bunch of money at a nonprofit and say that they did it and call it a day. But instead, we're seeing some more unique approaches. So what Chime did is they embrace this Change Makers initiative, aiming to recognize and reward people who are going above and beyond in their local communities. And they're rewarding them with $10,000. So anyone can nominate a change maker. You can enter through Instagram or Twitter, and they're running display ads and a lot of digital attention around this. But Chime does also use direct mail. So they're running a whole bunch of ads to promote the initiative and really trying to not just provide to a nonprofit, but support someone who's doing good. So there were a couple brands that I noticed that were making contributions and partnering with the National Black Justice Coalition. So Sephora was the first one that I picked up on the right there. So Sephora recently announced that your loyalty rewards through Sephora, the points that you earn every time you make a purchase, that they can be turned into donations to the National Black Justice Coalition. So you can do that online. So if you're unfamiliar, NBJC is a civil rights organization that empowers Black members of the LGBTQ SGL community. And so it's a very easy way to redeem. And then I also happen to notice that this, the Real, which is a luxury consignment store, was also communicating this as well. So they were also partnering with the same organization. So I clipped that out from one of their emails in the middle. So just unique and innovative ways that brands are looking to give back. We're seeing this in the printed marketing as well. So I wanted to call out this campaign. So this is just Express. It was kind of their standard mailer, if you will, offering coupons and showing, the different items. It did have some of the peel off coupons, but I thought this was really interesting where they were announcing the Dream Big project through GoFundMe. So partnering with GoFundMe, and I'm trying to, my computer's being slow. I was trying to zoom in on the fine print here because I wanted to read it. What I thought was really interesting, that not only did they launch the initiative and encourage giving back and encourage financial contributions, but they gave a little bit more information behind it. Let's see if I can tap in. Oh yeah. So they had this stat here, like, did you know 47% of US workers are employed by small businesses? Right now, they need our help. And so what the Dream Big project is this ongoing fundraiser initiative to empower people to believe in themselves, follow their dreams. And they started supporting GoFundMe's Small Business Relief Fund for those specifically impacted by COVID-19. So they give a little bit more information about that. September 17th, they hosted their first ever Dream Big Day, a virtual summit. And so just a little bit more information, dedicating a whole page on this mailer to that initiative. And I think we're going to see a lot of unique and innovative ways to give back. But I think leaning in and even giving information as to why the cause is important or why it's important to that brand in particular, I think just goes that extra little step. Okay, so that was something to give. Something to do. This is definitely something we're seeing across more campaigns, which is just, again, engaging for longer. So I always say this with direct mail, and I've been speaking about direct mail for over a decade now, but it is the most engaging in terms of the amount of attention you get from your customer or prospect, whoever you're trying to reach with it. You're going to get not only much higher ROI, but the amount of time, that someone's going to spend with the campaign compared to clicking through an email or a digital campaign. So if you have their time already, why not get even more of it with an activity? And I've been finding a lot of unique things, whether it's like crossword puzzles or, different ways to actually like keep someone's attention and keep them holding the campaign or, utilizing the campaign for longer has been interesting. So this is just from United Healthcare I picked up that I thought was really noteworthy. It had a lot of different inserts. It even had like this table of contents. So staying active, positivity, healthy eating, all the different categories that they were going to help you with. And then within this campaign, I didn't even include all of the different pages in here because there were so many, but everything from coloring, word searches, Sudoku, encouraging you to keep a journal, an activity log every time you worked out or moved during during the day. Of course, this is coming from a healthcare insurance provider, so it makes sense and it aligns with their brand, but really unique ways of getting someone to not only hold on to the campaign, but just do something. It gives them something to do. It's a little bit of that like surprise and delight element, if you will. This also, in terms of getting someone to engage or keep a campaign for a little bit longer, this one is an example. We see these every now and then of multi-purpose campaigns that serve, obviously they're informative, but can also be used for something else. And this was also from a Medicare Advantage plan provider called Martin's Point. And what they did is it was a sort of a folding piece, double-sided folding piece. And on the right there, it encouraged the person to cut out that half on the right. You see the little scissors with the dotted line to cut down on. And it's really, they say to post on your refrigerator because when it comes to Medicare, there are very sort of strict enrollment time periods. And this person wasn't quite 65 yet, but it was around the corner. So it kind of gave check boxes for what to do 7 to 12 months before they turn 65, 4 to 6 months, 1 to 3, et cetera. So it's sort of a way to keep it as a reminder, put it on your fridge, and then they're staring at it every single day. So that's, again, something to do. And then something to click. So go on to something to click. I don't know if anyone else received the Amazon catalog. I was actually kind of surprised because I don't, to be honest, I don't know if they've done it every single year. The first one was 3 or 4 years ago when they first sent this out. This, I think, might have been the first year that I actually received one to my home. So it was mixed with a lot of excitement from my little ones. But this is Amazon's catalog. And so interesting that, a digital brand like Amazon is doing catalogs, but they are, and I have to say, it is very impressive. They not only utilize QR codes, which I love, but the catalog itself actually has stickers in it too. And I have mine right here in front of me. So I'm opening it up. So it has a list. You can open to the first page. You can make a list, and you or the kids or whomever else can actually write things down of the items they like. It has coloring options. It has story and stickers. It has a maze, like actual activities in it. And then, of course, 80 plus pages of gifts, and then the QR code where you can actually scan, and it goes right to that part of the Amazon app. No prices, because we know that prices on Amazon change. So that's what Amazon is sending out, and worth understanding and realizing what is sort of right at the tip of many people's fingertips right now. But again, talking about the QR codes, there's so many different ways that they can be used to connect, and that they're going to continue to be used to connect into the future now that we're getting so comfortable with them. So I'm very big on QR codes right now. They're really having their moment. They're in everything from contactless payments to menus. I thought this was interesting on the left here. Hulu recently launched a commercial format that's encouraging customers to redeem an offer through a QR code. So what this whole ad experience does is it's actually enabling viewers to scan the QR code during the ad that goes to the mobile site, and you can either claim an offer or learn more about the company or the product. And so it's a really easy way that brands are now moving straight from a streaming show or piece of content to the mobile phone. And then, of course, on the right here too, I thought this was interesting, just a way that restaurants and stores can be using the QR code, whether it's to load up a menu, get more information about something. I've seen so many unique uses of them, and being able to have the sort of printouts at a point of sale, whether it's a merchant putting their PayPal QR code right at the point of sale, or restaurants with the menu. I think it's all so unique. And then this is just another QR example I picked up that I thought was worth noting in the financial services space. So this is Capital One using it to really reduce friction in a pretty friction-heavy process, which is applying for an auto loan. A lot of consumers, and surprisingly, the used auto market is doing pretty well these days. And so you can drive off in the car you love with Deborah's
I predicted those used cars were going to be a trend. Admit it, say it.
You were right.
With my research, watching my TV commercials, I'm not crazy.
She did it. No, it's so true. And so now, there is a lot of focus on this. And so in order to get the loan, you can now just scan the QR code in this campaign. So Capital One has a whole auto navigator service to help you find the car, of course, and finance it. But what the QR code does is it immediately pops up the form to easily fill out and get pre-approved for the loan. So within probably 3 minutes or less, you could be pre-approved for an auto loan, which is just bonkers if you had said that 5-10 years ago. Those are QR codes. Again, I could talk for hours on QR codes, but I won't. Finally, oh no, I did have one more page. Sorry, I had shown some of these. I thought these were some really interesting examples of more direct mail campaigns. If you've heard me speak before, I've shown this Ashley Furniture one on the right here, this postcard. I just love this because Ashley Furniture, huge furniture retailer store, but they really went out of their way to not only make it easy for people to go shopping again, but gave them options, all of the options, however you want to shop. You can book the appointment with the QR code. It immediately pops up the appointment scheduler, but you can also shop on FaceTime with like a dedicated consultant in the store walking around with you, or Skype or Zoom or whatever platform you like. There's so many options. I thought that was really, really unique way to just make it as easy as possible, as flexible as possible. This was a campaign on the left here from Fructis that we picked up. I just thought this was unique too. It's a little bit hard to see. They have the QR code, which I was highlighting here to get a coupon, but then they also below it, and I'm not sure how well you can see it, kind of gave a prompt for if you have an Alexa or the Echo Dot, it gave you the verbal prompt of ways that you can learn more. I'm zooming in to see what it says. It says, let's see if this is going to load it. Oh, anyway, yeah. Say, Alexa, ask Garnier, what are the sleek shot benefits? I mean, you know, a little kitsch, but someone will do it. And just by connecting a brand to one of these voice ecosystems, they actually give an option to say something to Alexa or Google Home, because we know consumers are somewhat split. So just different ways to connect, unique sort of out of the box ways to get more information. Okay, and then finally something to chew, because again, the holidays are going to be all about sharing and caring and food. You know, food really does define the holidays. So this is something that I think is important, whether you are a provider of food or you work with you work with a bakery or a restaurant or a grocery. It doesn't even matter. Even if your product has nothing to do with food, food can still be a part of your holiday marketing. So just adjusting to this new reality of what the holidays are going to be, consumers are going to be looking for new ways to provide the single person or single family or bubble treats to other people. And so this is really the time for retailers to step forward in this sort of next normal of celebrating, whether that's pre-wrapped treats or single serve beverages, whatever it is. So some of the things we've been seeing is the individually wrapped ideas, individually wrapped snacks. Food is gonna take center stage here. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. We're seeing some interesting plays on food from brands that, again, aren't necessarily known for food, but they're making themselves known for food. So Hilton Hotels, if anyone has stayed in a DoubleTree, when you check in, you get these 2 warm chocolate chip cookies, and they're amazing. And they recently shared their recipe for their cookies online. It was sort of this, we're in COVID, we're going to do something nice, and they shared their recipe, so consumers can recreate the chocolate chip experience at home. This was like a top secret recipe. Apparently, I didn't realize it was such a big deal, but it was sort of the family secret. And then in April as well, Disney shared the recipe for their popular Mickey Mouse shaped beignets. I hadn't had one of these, but I guess they're a thing. And so people can now make these beignets at home, which is, a fan favorite. So, food is going to be part of it. And we're seeing this as well. We're seeing this in the marketing. Just Bath and Body Works, I thought this was unique. They don't sell food, but they do sell food scented items. And so in this campaign, they printed all of their new fall scents. And then on the right there, yep, thanks, Deborah, just moved the video. On the bottom right there, you see a recipe for pumpkin cupcakes. And it's what one of the scented candles is meant to smell like. And now you can use the recipe and make the cupcakes at home. So I think, recipes are a great way. Even if you don't make a food or provide a food, it is a way to, again, it does all those things. It's something to do. It's something to eat. It's something to share with other people. and create an experience with a brand that lasts a little bit longer. So I'm going to wrap up, again, leave you with sort of some closing thoughts. And these are some things that are not exclusive to the holidays. These are things I've been saying for a little while now and will continue to say into 2021, which is that it's okay to say you don't know. You know, it's whether you're just trying something new or trying a new tactic or a new value proposition, you know, stop with the we're all in this together. We're past that. If you don't know what to say, just acknowledge that, you know, things are weird right now. It's okay to just acknowledge. Nobody knows what the right answer is. We're all trying to navigate very different courses right now. Helping consumers plan and dream. You know, we want to plan. We haven't been able to plan anything for a long time. Again, even just the holidays, where the traditional plans have gone out the window, and what, you know, you might think you're going to do for Christmas come December might be totally different because there could be a huge spike in cases or vice versa. So helping them to plan because they want to, but acknowledging that things could change, and flexibility is key. And people are ready to laugh, you know, bring a little humor in, bring a little excitement and joy. And it's okay to be funny. You know, it's safe now. It's safe to laugh. So I think that's a really key part of that too. So I am finished. Wow. Right at 2:45. If you are interested in learning more about Compromedia or Mintel, or if you're, want to get a free report, I'm feeling very generous in the spirit of the holidays. So we do have this report, adapting direct mail messaging post COVID-19, really amazing report. One of my colleagues published. So if you want to learn more or get this, please get in touch with David. His information is on the screen. Forewarning, he's out on vacation this week. So if you don't hear back from him right away, I promise he will get back to you probably by end of next week at the latest. So just wanted to put that out there. But I know he'd be happy to connect and give you more information. And then here's my information as well, if you have questions for me or want to follow up on anything. But really appreciate everyone's time. Deborah, thank you again for having me. And I can take questions, but if we're at time, we can do that offline too.
No, we have time. If you don't mind. First of all, thank you so much. Mostly there were comments, but there is a question that I think maybe you might have some more insight to in regard to. Yeah, more people are printing, and you see more QR codes out in the world. But are you guys actually tracking if consumers are engaging with them? Also, I'm sorry, David's contact information that they wanted.
Yeah, it's a great question with the QR code. So I don't have the data at the tip of my fingers as to the share, like how many consumers are utilizing QR codes. I can tell you it continues to grow. I mean, it's a growing number. No, not everybody, but I will say ever since, you know, the iPhone was the first where you can now scan it with just the camera app. You don't need that third party app to download it. Like with augmented reality, you have to download the app to scan an augmented reality code. But with QR codes, you can now do it from the camera. So that alone increased the use of QR codes. I had a stat at one point. It's exponentially higher than it was. It continues to grow. Again, it's not ubiquitous, but I definitely think it's on its way there. And the U.S. lags behind in other countries. You go to any Asian country, China, Japan, I mean, everything QR codes, and it has been for a little while. So we're lagging behind, and I think that's eventually will be at the point of ubiquity. But good question.
Yeah, I thought it was a good question. People are just very happy that you are got everybody in a bit of a holiday mood.
Yay.
I also want to echo something you said about the the restaurant sharing recipes. I mean the DoubleTree sharing their cookie recipe and so on and so forth. It's actually something that Morton put David's LinkedIn link too in the chat. Thank you so much.
Sorry, David.
No, but only good people are going to connect with
him.
Yeah. Something I was, had been suggesting for a while is that, if people aren't going to restaurants, then is there a signature dish at that restaurant? Can there be a way for people to come get ingredients and maybe cook at home on a Zoom or get some sort of recipe book and or something along those lines. And I think that's what you're saying we're seeing manifesting out in the world now. I also just want to mention that Lily and I have this little thing going because Lily's part of a multi-million-dollar research company, and I watch TV commercials and I make predictions.
And you were right.
Well, every once in a while they come true, but but used cars, everyone's like, used cars. I'm like, trust me, used cars are going to be very popular because a car is a corona-free device. And to your point, I think of it just the way you're presenting it, which is put yourself in that situation. Do you want to go in a store unless you understand what's going on? And then put yourself in the situation of that store owner. How can I tell everybody about this? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a printed channel or digital marketing or video or a podcast or whatever it is, if we are in the communications business, we need to help these businesses communicate.
Well, and here's an idea too. I mean, all of this, but even as something as simple as putting a QR code on your front window, because if someone doesn't walk into a store, they could just scan the QR code and, I mean, yes, theoretically, they could also call the store, but like the QR code could help them engage, and maybe they like something they see in there, but they don't want to go in. There's just so many opportunities to connect a printed sign to anything you have online, and or connect to a real person and speak to them.
Yeah. I saw something it just briefly passed me, but apparently there's a turkey crisis because people aren't buying turkeys this year because they're not. I mean, who needs a 10-pound turkey? Or
I'm not. I know, and I'm not. I'm going to be the one hosting Thanksgiving this year, which is a nightmare. But I'm not buying a turkey. I'm not cooking a turkey.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Well, I just mean like people are used to buying 20-pound turkeys. And of course, in America, we feed those turkeys. So they're nice big turkeys. Oh. But this year, people maybe it's going to be like chicken. Like we'll pretend the chicken's a turkey. I mean, what do mean 3 people need a 10-pound turkey for? We don't. So
well, that's going to be interesting too, where when you have a large crowd of 20 or more for Thanksgiving dinner, you're probably more likely to cook all the traditional stuff, the very traditional dishes. But if you're only hosting it for 4, 5, 6 people, you may be changing your menu up a little bit. The traditional fix-ins might be out the window because who really likes the cranberries? Some people do. I don't like.
I love the cranberry. Don't mess with the cranberries.
All right. But and Deborah cranberries.
Seriously, do the jelly, not the. I like the jelly. Oh. I know. I'm a jelly person. I will stand by my jelly.
I can't.
It's also another opportunity to possibly partner with a restaurant and say, look, let's come up with a affordable, small takeaway meal that somebody is only 2 people now doesn't have to miss out on the holiday because they don't want to buy a 20-pound turkey,
Yeah.
Just a lot of opportunities. And I think that, I like that what you said, how we described it as a thread and that, technically the thread starts here but this holiday season's the first stop, the next stop. There's way more to come. And this research can really help people. Certainly, please connect with David and get that report. They're giving away reports. I believe last time you presented, you had requests waiting for the report before you even left the webinar. I just want to thank you so much for everything.